How do we accumulate healthy habits in sustainable ways that really stick?
During menopause, post-menopause, like there's just a lot of terms, but bottom line is listening to your body.
Welcome to the Frequency Files. Thanks for joining us as we explore the vibrations, forms, and creations and mechanisms behind them that inform the nature of existence. Today we're speaking with Judy Holt, who is a holistic health coach with over 30 years experience. Judy's passionate about supporting others to feel their best in all areas of wellness through a reset cleanse plan specifically. Her plans include detoxifying cleanses with diet, mindset, and lifestyle changes. Judy specialises in women over 40 with menopausal and digestive challenges that are looking for natural options. Judy creates custom daily plans that incorporate more plant-based whole food eating, supplements, fitness, and meditation. A daily sustainable self-care plan that feels right for you while moving towards body, mind, and spirit alignment. Judy, it's awesome to have you here. Thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you for the invitation, Sarah. Looking forward to this.
Yeah, it'd be great. I'd love to start off with what is it that led you to the work that you do now?
Well, that's a great question. I grew up in a farm in a small farming community in northern British Columbia, Canada, and we grew everything. I had six brothers and sisters, and because we were so isolated, we were not able to just run to the store and grab things. We were like 26 miles from the nearest place. So you learn to be sufficient, self-sufficient really quick. And so we grew our own food, we had our own animals and all that kind of stuff. So I had a very holistic background. So then when I got in my 20s, I moved away from home and realized, oh, aspartame, NutraSweet, all these artificial sweeteners. I didn't know what any of those things were. And this was over 30 years ago, but it was still a big thing then. And, of course, more now. But so I really had appreciation for whole food, holistic lifestyle, growing your own food, and just eating for nutrition, not just for satisfaction and, oh, I have a craving, so I'm going to go grab this. It was more about, what is a sustainable, healthy plan that I can do that's inexpensive because my family did not have a lot of money. And so we really had to be frugal and very thrifty with what we had and learn how to make things from scratch. So there wasn't this go to the store and grab a box of something. And so that was really how I started with my journey and how I was. And then when I had my children in my 20s, mid 20s, I guess to late 20s, it was then a matter of, okay, I could create a flexible income stream with being a coach. And that's my passion. So now I have a bigger buy-in, help my family be healthy and help other people and
Mm.
create an income stream so I could stay home with my kids.
Yeah, got it. I know that you've got a real passion area around helping women over 40 and going head on with hormonal changes and digestion. What are the links between hormones and digestion?
Good question. So, really, everything starts with gut health. So, the big thing with hormones is when they're out of balance, as we all know, there's many times in a woman's life where that's going to happen. It's just inevitable because, hey, we're a woman and we were blessed with all this fun stuff to deal with, right? But the hormonal piece is very often related to gut health. So, really, everything starts with the gut. Now, is hormones completely to do with gut? No, but it definitely has some bearing on it. So we know that a lot of disease does start in the gut and a lot of problems start there. So when we fix that, we sort out some other things. Because when your gut's not healthy, you're going to notice obviously digestive issues. You're going to notice bowel issues. You might going to have crazy cravings, and maybe you eat and then you just feel horrible after you eat, or you've got heartburn and gas and bloating and all the things. So these are a sign that something's not quite right. So
Mm.
when you fix that and fix the microbe in your gut and you have a healthy gut lining, it makes sense that that would help the body to absorb nutrients better, which it makes sense that that would also be beneficial for balancing your hormones. Now, that's not the only thing that's going to balance your hormones, but it's certainly a start. So I love to link those two, and I really like to do a reset with ladies, like a cleanse, which is just whole food, vegetarian eating, and just really flush out the liver because it's storing a lot of toxins, and it's our biggest, or I should say, our most underappreciated organ. Let's just say that, because we all talk about heart health and brain health and lung health, and there's all this media about it, but how many of us are really hearing a lot about liver health? And that is the biggest piece. That's our detoxifier in our bodies. We really need to give it a rest, and we really need to make sure it's working super, super good to release the toxins that are being built up on a daily basis in our body.
Mm, mm, mm. And I know there's things that people already know, like, for example, alcohol puts stress on the liver, but what are some other things that do and that people could ease off on if they wanted to show their liver a little bit more love?
Yes. Okay. Well, dairy products, high sugar diet, of course, alcohol, and gluten sometimes can be bothersome for some people, not everybody. But I think a really big one is also red meat, and it doesn't mean you have to be vegetarian, but just in moderation. So some people are sensitive to things that other people aren't, of course, but kind of the culprits that really seem to be a problem are, just really not listening to your body, just feeding it with, junk food, packaged foods, unlimited, like lots of alcohol and going to bed late and, maybe crazy amounts of dairy products. And anything in moderation is usually pretty good. But it's when we start getting into the crazy craving phase, because then we're back to gut health. Because when you're craving those kind of things that are unhealthy, it's usually because your gut's unhealthy and you got candida, which is too much yeast. So when all those cravings happen, your liver's going, oh my goodness, I don't even know what to do with all this stuff. I can't keep up. There's just so much garbage here that I have to eliminate. So, there's not a magic thing for everybody, but I just say moderation mainly. There's nothing wrong with having some meat, nothing wrong with having some gluten and dairy products, just in moderation, and also combined with a much more whole plant-based food diet. So vegetarian, raw fruits and vegetables, cooked, steamed, stir fried, smoothies, salads, all the things. So many ways to get more fruits and vegetables in our diet. And that's really what our liver loves, because it has to do very little work when you have a diet like that. It's like in, out. I can function pretty easily here, but the liver's not happy with all those things that bung it up, as I mentioned.
Mm, 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 mm. And can we dive more into some of the hormonal changes and what that may show up as for people? So they might notice some changes in their lives, but not notice or identify that that's specifically a byproduct of maybe being perimenopausal or menopausal, or having completely thrown out hormones.
hmm Yeah, so it's the hormone imbalance is a big one for women, and sometimes it's hard to identify that that's the problem. It can, if you've got digestive issues and things like that, it's like, oh yeah, whatever, that's just the way I am. Or starting to wake up at night and having hot flashes and things like that. That's always, the big sign for a lot of women, like, oh, that's the big red flag. Now I'm in menopause, or I'm in perimenopause. Well, yes and no. Hot flashes could be caused by a variety of things, but that typically is an indicator. So as we're going along through our journey as a woman, really once you get to about 40, your hormones are really going to start changing typically. Some women are earlier than that, but usually it's kind of 45, 50 is more average, but there seems to be a trend now to experiencing the hormonal things earlier. So perimenopause can be anywhere from 40 to 50, some women later. Menopause is typically around like the 47, 50 mark till like 52. I mean, the average woman going through menopause is 52, which is quite late. Lots of people are done by then. So we see a lot of fluctuations in the cycle of a woman leading up to that, during menopause, post menopause. Like there's just a lot of terms, but bottom line is listening to your body and what feels good for you. So there's many, many natural options to balance hormones. It doesn't mean we all have to be on hormone replacement therapy, but if that's what works for you and that's the route you want to take, no judgment. I just suggest to women that there are natural steps that you can do, and a lot of it can be really supported with diet. Like, as an example, the things you really don't want when your hormones are out of balance are red wine, caffeine, and chocolate. So, what do women love the most? Red wine, caffeine, and chocolate, especially after 6 o'clock at night. Caffeine, none after like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. That you may notice quite a change just by taking those out. But the red wine and the chocolate in the evening is, yeah, that can really contribute to the hot flashes. And that's usually the first symptom that women get that's just really annoying and uncomfortable. And it might not just be like night sweats at night, it could be during the day as well. So I found that myself. What worked is I started eliminating the red wine, caffeine, and just wasn't really a coffee drinker, anyways. Chocolate, like one little square of chocolate, that was enough. Any more than that, then I was noticing things in the evening. And red wine, either not at all or certainly not after 6 o'clock at night. So, again, back to the moderation, right? That's it doesn't mean don't have the things that you love. It just maybe just do a trial and error to see what helps you if you eliminate it. And
Mm,
keeping a food journal is really helpful too.
yeah. Mm. And you focus on the alignment of body, mind, spirit. How do you guide someone to tune in more deeply to what your body needs? And you've mentioned some of that, but in incorporating not just the body, but the mind and the spirit.
Thank you for asking that. It's such a valuable piece because I really think that it has to get back to we listen to our body's intuition. And when it comes to food choices, when it comes to lifestyle choices, anything that we're doing, anything that we're putting in our body, we can really easily just kind of, take some time to drop into that and go, okay, how does this feel for me? Like, am I craving this because I really need it? Or is it just because I want it and it's a crutch to make me feel good? So am I eating for emotions or am I eating for nourishment? And when your body starts getting really nourished by whole healthy foods, it craves the right foods. It really does. And I've noticed this every time I do a 7 day plant-based cleanse and reset, and I'm about to do one next week, and I do it twice a year, usually spring and fall, at least in Canada, spring and fall. But the purpose of it is just to reset the system. And it's amazing how after you do that and you eat so much more whole foods and listen to your body, it's like, oh, I just want this. But no, 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 that's a want. That's not really a need. And it's not really anything that's going to help me. So I'm going to eliminate that. And instead, I'm going to replace it with a handful of berries. Or I'm going to make myself, a yummy smoothie with some fresh fruits and veggies. Craving goes away because you took a pause and you listened. Maybe have a drink of water, have a cup of herbal tea, or, things that just really distract you. And then once you're distracted and you eat something different, then you realize, oh, I actually didn't really need that. I just thought I did. And I feel better because I've made this choice. So tapping into that, your internal wisdom is huge. The body, mind, spirit alignment is really everything to do with wellness. It's not just people think it's all woo woo and it's just about up here. No, no, no. It's everything to do with your whole body health. And once you balance all of those things, your body, your mind, your spirit, it's amazing how your body just operates in a flow state. And when you're in a flow state, you're feeling good. Now, do you still have times where you have, this or that, or stomach upset or hormonal stuff happening? Of course. I mean, that's just all part of the balance. It's the yin and the yang. Sometimes it gets a little out of balance. So you have to readjust, you have to recalibrate. And, when we're listening to our intuition, we know how to recalibrate because our body's talking to us all the time. It's telling us what to do. We just have to listen.
Mm,
So there's whispers every day. Are you listening to them?
mm. Yeah, yeah. What are some of the ways that, yeah, I know you've mentioned a few, but what are some of the other ways that you focus and cultivate ultimate alignment and a coherent frequency for yourself?
Nice. I love it. You said that. I'll just give you an example of what I do in my day
Mm,
because I don't feel like if you walk the talk, you can really be coaching other people to do it if you're not willing to do it yourself. So I love to start my day in gratitude and my gratitude journal, 10 things I'm grateful for. I love to do a morning meditation, and that looks like different. Sometimes meditation is a walk. Sometimes meditation is just sitting outside in nature with my feet grounded on the grass. Sometimes it's listening to a guided meditation. It's just wherever I am, whatever works out. But it works so good to get that time for you every day. So I really highly recommend minimum 1 hour of self-care first thing in the morning, preferably before anything else takes your time away, because we all know the day's going to happen and things are going to suck your time, people, events, whatever, the big never ending to-do list. So take that time for you first thing in the morning. So that's how I tap into being, in a grounded space. Gratitude, meditation, nature. Those are kind of my top three things. And then nourishing food. So, a whole food smoothie for breakfast with 4 or 5 fruits and vegetables in my smoothie with a protein powder. So that helps me fit my body feel nourished. So I've got the body side, the mindset, is meditation, the gratitude. And then the alignment piece is making sure that throughout the day, I'm just really listening to the whispers like, oh, you need to get outside and move right now. You're working too much in your office, get outside. So go out for a walk, whatever it might be, go for a swim. Like just find something that you love to do for fitness and making sure that you're getting at least 30 to 60 minutes every day of movement, whatever that is for you. Just make sure it's something you enjoy so you stick with it and it's sustainable. So the alignment piece for me is just listening to all of those things. Once this is in the right space and your spirit is aligned with your body, and then, it's just a whole body alignment, right? And it all starts with awareness. So, in a meditation, as example, you can tap into that, right? Like, okay, so today I'm feeling, I think I need to do a meditation about da 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 da. So sometimes I'll be like, oh, I need to forgive something. I don't know what it is, but forgiveness just popped up to me. I need to do a forgiveness meditation. So
Mm,
I'll just Google it and find the right one. So again, just listening to, the intuitive side, right? I
mm.
hope that answers your question.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. And so practical, right? Like very grounded in what that can look like in the day-to-day life. So really fantastic. What are some things that you think there's misunderstandings about when it comes to maybe health coaching or making these holistic health changes? And what's a pathway through that?
Mm. I think some misconceptions are, what's the purpose of a coach? Like I can just do this on my own. I don't need to hire anybody. I don't need to take any supplements. Like I'm good. And so the misconception around that, really is I can do it on my own, but usually we need somebody else to be accountable to. So the accountability piece is so, so massive. And I know that for myself. It's very easy to fall back into old habits, and good intentions do not equal action. So you can have a good intention all day long. Today is going to be the day. I'm going to start this and I'm going to do this and I'm going to eat healthier. And then 3 days later, they're slipping again. So there's a fantastic book called Atomic Habits by James Cleary. And that book talks about habit stacking. So if you want to make a change, then you need to stack habits on top of each other. So say as an example that you want to, do more fitness. So your goal is to get out for a 30-minute walk every day, but you're kind of, oh, today I don't feel like it. I don't think I'm going to go. So if you have an accountability partner, like a friend waiting to pick you up, like, Sarah, I'm at your door. Well, guess what? You're going to grab your shoes and you're going to get out the door and you're going to go do that walk. So what James Cleary talks about in this book is habit stacking. So maybe you put your running shoes at the door, you put your workout clothes on your bed in the morning, or, on a chair beside your bed. So you see them and that kind of stuff. So that's stacking one habit of being prepared for the day before. Maybe, I want to eat healthier. So a misconception is, well, I can do this on my own. Well, maybe you can, but are you being consistent? So a good habit stack for that is, okay, I'm going to prepare my healthy lunch the night before because I know I have a busy work day or I'm out running errands, and I'm going to make sure that lunch is ready to go in the fridge. And I'm going to stack that with, what's one other thing? This is the habit that you normally do at lunchtime that's not serving you. Let's pick one that's a good habit. So, I've got my lunch ready to go, and maybe I'm going to grab an apple and I have a fruit bowl of all kinds of washed fruit sitting at the table. So I can stack another good habit with the preparation. You know what I'm saying? So I think the
Okay.
misconceptions are just that, I can do it on my own and I don't need help. Well, we all think that we could be doing everything on our own and that, we don't need any support with anybody. The ego comes in and then it's like, yeah, that's probably not really serving you. So accountability is really important. A workout buddy is important. And just having that outside perspective. That's what a coach does. A coach helps you to hone in on, okay, this is an area that, like you've identified that this is an area you want some support with. So here's some strategies. Here's some recipes. Here's some tips. Here's, some concepts that could be helpful for you. So that's kind of what I do. And I think, there's many misconceptions and one person's idea of healthy eating and healthy lifestyle is completely different from another person's. And that's okay. It's like we all have our benchmark and we don't need to compare ourselves to other people because that is another big misconception. Well, so and so can do this and beating yourself up and guilting. And that's just going down a path that's never going to serve you. So, just really coming to the place of I'm okay where I'm at and accepting myself for where I am. And I know I want to be here, but I'm going to start with baby steps, one thing at a time. Because so many people jump in with both feet and I'm going to just like start running a marathon and I'm going to train every day. And it's not sustainable. You got to start with baby steps. So I think that is the biggest misconception I'd like to get out there is that start small. Starting big, like go big or go home, doesn't work with lifestyle changes because you're not going to stick with it.
I love that. Yes. Set yourself up to win. And with those
Yes.
micro changes, there's less friction, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Isn't there like, otherwise, Sarah, it's like mutiny amongst the troops. Like you're trying to change things too fast. And I'm not going to do this. No way. You're just self-sabotaging yourself all the time when you do that.
yeah, yeah. I know an awesome lady who works more as a PT, and she said she had all these clients and she was trying to make all these lifestyle changes with them. And she said, you know what? Instead of telling them all these things that they should stop doing, I just got them to start adding things to their lives. And then naturally, their tastes changed and they started liking these new things. And so naturally, those things that I was trying to tell them to get rid of just fell by the wayside as a byproduct. But also because she wasn't doing it in a resistant way or in a this is bad, wrong. It's just like, let's try more of this. Like,
That's such a good point, Sarah, because that's an alignment view, right? Because the opposite of resistance, well, to me, it's alignment.
yeah.
So when you're in the flow, it's like if anybody's familiar with Abraham Hicks, her work. I love how she talks about the paddling upstream. How most people are doing. It's like, hello, why are you not just putting your boat in downstream? Why are you making everything so difficult? Follow the path of least resistance downstream. Okay. So stop trying to make these big, huge changes and go upstream all the time because it's going to be really hard. It's resistance all the time. Go with the flow, adopt one small change at a time. And if you're good with that, do it maybe for 2 weeks. Then you've adopted, some pretty good habit, maybe even for 3 weeks, the 21-day thing to break a habit. Then introduce something new. But you're right, when you start introducing healthy things, like I find the body just doesn't crave those things anymore. So instead of telling my clients that you can't have dairy products anymore, I'm like, that's not my place to say that. I'm not there to hold your hand every day. But what I'm going to tell you is, why don't we try eating a little more plant based? Here's some recipes to eat more whole foods. Pretty soon they're like, I'm not even craving this stuff anymore. I don't need like my 3 hunks of cheese or, meals of pasta and cheese and all the things anymore because I don't crave it. I don't feel good when I have it. I really feel really, really good when I eat whole fresh foods. Not that you
Mhm.
can't have some of those other things, but the moderation, right?
Totally, totally. And making those changes where people then get the embodied feedback from their system going, ooh, I like this.
Exactly. That's a great term, embodied feedback. I love it.
Oh, thanks, Judy. I'd love to know, because we're all about exploring frequency in various forms. What does frequency mean for you?
Mm. Well, frequency is, to me, it's kind of like that. It's the whole body, mind, spirit alignment, but it's the energy that you're putting out around you, right? So So if your frequency is really low because you're eating low frequency foods like packaged foods and, lifestyle choices that are not serving you, maybe toxic relationships, things like that, your frequency is not going to be very good. Your energy level is going to be low. You're going to be emitting like, just not your if the old days of having a radio station, it's like it's not calibrated. You know how I don't know if you remember those days, but we used to have radios, and when they were out of frequency, it was like all the staticky. So, you're not being in alignment. You're not,
Yeah.
in the flow, and you're not dropping into your own intuition, and you're not feeling the most energized because your frequency is just out of whack. So how do you be in your frequency? Being in touch with your inner consciousness, your inner self. Meditation brings you back, being out in nature brings you back, dropping into that throughout the day and just really listening to your body and asking questions. What is a good thing for me to do right now? What is the best fit for me? What is the best food choice? What is the best, just asking, and to raise your frequency, nourish your body with whole goodness in all areas, really.
Mm, mm, mm.
But the
Abs-
inner knowing, just listening to your inner knowing, because we all know,
yeah,
listening to your consciousness, it's always talking to your inner consciousness. Just pay attention, drop into
absolutely.
that space.
Yeah, I love that. And of course, the more you practice it, the stronger that voice is and the stronger the dialogue becomes, right?
Oh, for sure. And then even dreams, right, Sarah? Like there's just such a beautiful way to tap into frequencies in your dreams. And, when you wake up in the morning, and like one habit that I adopt before I go to bed every night is I ask myself what my 3 wins of the day were. And, it can be a small thing. It doesn't have to be anything big. It doesn't have to be, I had this amazing epiphany today. It doesn't have to be that. Just it could just be I managed to get a 10-minute walk in. Yay, tick. That was a win. I smiled at a stranger, and she smiled back, whatever, right? There's no judgment on what that has to be, but the 3 wins of the day. So how do you think your frequency is before you fall asleep? Hello, it's like, oh, I'm feeling so good. I accomplished things today. I feel good about myself. You're dropping into that good feeling space, and then you wake up in the morning and it's like, what are the 3, things I'm most excited about today? And so you're jumping out of bed because you're excited to get on with your day, and you're already focusing on your frequency. Like maybe you've done a little breath work before you got up, some stretching, just to get your day off to a really good flow and a good frequency in the morning. Because if you start off in the deficit position all day long, you're trying to play catch up, right? You get out of bed, you stub your toe, and this happens, and oh, it's going to be one of those days, right? We've all said that to ourselves, and then it is one of those days.
Mm,
So at any time, we can press the reset button and start again.
so true. Wow. Judy, before we head off today, is there any parting thoughts that you would love to share?
Yeah, I mean, there's just so many things, Sarah. I've been doing this for so long that I must say it just becomes such a natural thing. But I think the parting thoughts for me are start small. Don't beat yourself up in guilt and shame that you haven't been able to stick with a consistent plan, or that you haven't started, that you're not doing things that you know that you should do. Maybe you haven't been, listening to intuition, you haven't had experience with that. That's okay. Everybody has to start somewhere. And, just start in exactly the place that you are in, and just cast that vision for a better life for yourself. And maybe have somebody help you. Like I love to do that with people, be a vision caster, and just talk about, what's this perfect, it doesn't have to be perfect, but what is this lifestyle that you're aspiring to, and why? Understanding your why, because if your why is not big enough, every sacrifice is too high to pay. So just really, really tapping into, why do I want this? I want to eat healthier because I want to lose weight because, and then ask yourself, why? Just really peel the layer of the onion until you get to the true essence of what it is that you really, really want to achieve, and why. Because then it has big meaning for you, and you're way more likely to stick with anything that comes up. Because let's face it, there's going to be challenges every day. So prepare yourself for those challenges and look at your past saboteurs. We all have them. We all sabotage ourselves in many ways throughout the day. So look at that past history and maybe even make a note of it, So you can recognize those things when they come up. It's like, oh, that's just a saboteur. That's just me. In the past I did this, doesn't mean it has to be now. This is the new me. So, just the why I think is the biggest piece though. We're all like, oh yeah, I want to do this. Well, why? Well, I want to go here. Why?
Mm.
I want to lose weight. Why? So just, like I say, back to the peel and the onion so you get the true essence of you.
Totally. I love that. And it's like the why puts the petrol in the tank, like to take you where you want to
100%.
go.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
a good analogy. I was just talking with someone before this, and we were talking about when you likening it to your body is like a vehicle. I mean, it's your vehicle and you're operating in that vehicle for the rest of your life, whether you like it or not. So you better treat it good. So when your vehicle runs out of gas, you put fuel in it. Well, if you put unhealthy fuel and the wrong kind of fuel, it's not going to function good. So when you do an oil change, that's like doing a cleanse and a reset on your system. You're getting rid of the toxins that have built up. So fuel your body every day, make the healthy choices, just as you do with your car and, other things that you take care of. It'll serve you so well because we want to live well. It doesn't matter about how long you live. It's not about longevity. It's about health span, not lifespan. What's your health like? Are you enjoying life? Are you happy? Do you have a happy, healthy, nourished body? Then life is fun. If you don't, life's not very fun. So it doesn't matter if you live to 100, but you feel horrible, or if you live till 70 and you're in a home and your brain's not functioning. So, do you want longevity or do you want health span? So live well every day.